In your dreams, bro! Tigran, the Ararat Valley bro who thought he was too small, learns that his valley is heaven's favorite launchpad for restored inheritance. Tigran blinked, and suddenly he wasn't in his tiny room in Ararat Province anymore. The cracked ceiling with the peeling poster of Mount Ararat was gone. Instead, he was standing on the gateway arch, except it wasn't in Missouri, the arch over Ararat. The massive silver curve stretched across the Ararat Valley like God had bent the sky into a skateboard ramp made of liquid moonlight. Below him, the Eryx River glowed neon silver, and instead of normal riverboats, whole fleets of old Mississippi-style paddle wheelers were launching off the curve like silver arrows, engines roaring, fireworks exploding in pomegranate red and apricot gold. Bro, what the actual... Tigran yelled, arms windmilling as the arch tilted and became a sky surf ramp. Wind whipped his hoodie. He was already sliding down the glowing metal on nothing but his sneakers. Picking up insane speed, Prairie Dog arrives. Hold up, T-Man, we got you, a high-pitched bark yelled from above. Prairie Dog zipped past on glowing wings no bigger than dinner plates, tiny claws clutching a half-eaten lavash wrap. This ramp is bussin', but don't eat the silver dust. It tastes like regret and old Koravat's grease. Arcto the giant bear. From the other side, a thunderous yet surprisingly gentle voice boomed, Kid, lean into the turn or you're gonna eat valley dirt. Arcto, the giant short-faced bear, came barreling alongside, his massive 11-foot frame somehow surfing the curve on all fours, shaggy reddish-brown fur rippling. Those long legs eating distance like it was nothing. His downward curving tusks? Nah, in the dream they were glowing like handlebars. He scooped Tigran onto his broad back with one paw the size of a car tire. I got you, little bro, no cap. Armi the wolf. Armi the Armbruster's wolf landed lightly on Arcto's other shoulder, grayish-tan fur sleek, jaws grinning. You're Delulu if you think gravity works normal here, Tigran. This is sky surfing with Jesus energy. Feel that liquid love in the wind? Corvirap floating! The three of them rocketed off the end of the arch ramp. The entire structure twisted into a glowing silver rainbow portal that spat them out over the real Corvirap monastery, but the monastery was floating. Ancient stones pulsing with golden light, monks inside breakdancing on the rooftops while singing old hymns mixed with modern Armenian trap. The delicious food rain, riverboats from the Dream Mississippi were now flying in formation, launching actual dolma and gapama pumpkins like delicious cannonballs. One exploded mid-air in a shower of honeyed rice and dried apricots that rained down sweet and sticky. Tigran caught a mouthful and laughed so hard he almost fell off Arcto. Yo, this is insane! I was just stressing about that math test and my dad yelling about helping in the brandy cellar after school. Tigran shouted, wind in his face. PD zipped around his head like a caffeinated drone. Math test? Bruh, that's small potatoes! Look left! The shadow appears. Tigran turned. A shadow version of himself, darker, slouched, eyes full of that heavy I'm never enough fog, was riding a cracked black version of the arch, trying to drag real Tigran down with chains made of glowing report cards in his dad's disappointed voice. The shadow screamed, You'll never measure up! Everyone else has it together! You're just the kid from the valley who freezes when it matters! The crew fights back. Terror hit Tigran's chest like ice water, his heart pounded. The shadow lunged, but Arcto roared, a sound like mountains laughing, and swatted the shadow with one paw. Not today, fake news! Armi howled and bit through one chain. That lie's been chewing on you too long, bro. Time to spit it out. PD dive-bombed the shadow's face, barking, Get wrecked, imposter syndrome! Tigran's built different! The sky explodes in color. The sky exploded into color. The flying riverboats turned into living lavash carpets that caught Tigran and his crew. They surfed through clouds that tasted like fresh Koravat smoke and sweet pomegranate wine. Below, the entire Ararat Valley was alive, vineyards dancing, Mount Ararat itself waving with cherry blossom fireworks even though it was winter. Tigran felt his chest loosen for the first time in months, laughing, screaming, crying happy tears all at once. Khosrow Forest, the living word. Then the dream went deeper. They crashed through a portal into a mind-bending version of Khosrow Forest Reserve. But the trees were made of glowing Bible pages, leaves flipping like living stories. Ancient saints and modern missionaries walked among them, handing out fresh translations of scripture that floated like fireflies. The table. And Sweetest Jesus. Tigran landed in a clearing where a massive table was set with every Armenian dish imaginable, and at the head sat Sweetest Jesus, eyes like sunrise fire over Ararat, voice like thunder wrapped in the softest velvet hug. The Shadow Boss returns, bigger, but wait, it wasn't over. The Shadow Boss reformed bigger, now a twisting storm of comparison. father wounds, loneliness, and that constant not enough voice that haunted Tigran's nights. It swallowed the sky, turning the beautiful valley dark. Tigran's heart raced again. I can't! I always mess it up! I'm not alone, and faith is enough. His crew surrounded him. PD whispered, You got the riz of heaven, bro. Arcto nudged him gently. Armi growled, Use what he already gave you. Tigran felt something shift, a warm liquid love flooding his chest like warm chai on a freezing Ararat night. He stood taller. Nah, that's a lie. I'm not alone. And faith enough because you say so. The shadow shatters. The shadow shattered like cheap glass. Light exploded. The crew cheered. They flew loops around the real Mount Ararat, which was now glowing with every color of God's promise. Tigran laughed until his sides hurt, cried until the tears washed the old weight away, felt his heart pound with pure aliveness. Everything froze. The whole wild ride, the sky surfing, the food rain, the shadow fight, the laughter, the terror, the beauty, felt more real than any day at school. He was living it, submerged. No hint it was a dream. Then everything froze. Colors bled into liquid gold. The wind stopped. The crew hovered midair, wings glowing soft. Sweetest Jesus speaks. My son, Tigran, it's time to wake up now. This was never just a crazy sky-surfing fever dream with talking extinct animals and flying riverboats. It was me, Sweetest Jesus, meeting you right where you were most alive, most scared, most hungry for something real. I was in every laugh, every roar, every sweet rain of honeyed pumpkin. I've been right here the whole time. The arch explained. That glowing gateway arch turning into a sky surf ramp? That was your life feeling like one big uncertain curve. The future, stretching out scary and beautiful at the same time, with Ararat Province as your backdrop. You've been trying to surf it alone, scared you'd wipe out. But I was the solid curve underneath, holding you. The flying riverboats explained. The flying Mississippi riverboats launching like silver arrows? Those were the dreams and promises I've been launching over your life. Family legacy, purpose, joy. But you thought they were too far away or for someone else. I'm sending them straight at you, loaded with good things. PD, Arcto, and Armi explained. PD, Arcto, and Armi, your talking flying crew? They were the companions I've always surrounded you with. The small persistent voice that won't quit, like PD. The massive protective strength that can carry you when you're weak, Arcto. And the sharp discerning loyalty that fights for you, Armi. I never left you solo, the shadow explained. The shadow version of you with the chains of report cards and dad's voice? Straight up that heavy imposter syndrome, inadequacy wound, and the fear of failure, perfectionism that's been choking you. The lie that you'll never measure up, that your Ararat Valley life is too small. I shattered it because I already carried every not enough on the cross. The food rain explained. The food rain and sweet Gopama explosion? My tangible joy and provision raining down, reminding you I satisfied the deep hunger no test score or approval ever could. You've been starving for belonging, I'm the feast. The dark storm explained. The dark storm shadow boss? That deeper abandonment, rejection, rootlessness wound mixed with comparison, envy. Feeling invisible next to your cousin, disconnected from dad, small under the shadow of the mountain. I defeated it. The cross already broke every chain of you're not chosen. The laughter, screaming, heart-pounding, alive feeling? That's the real you I created. Not the numb, stressed version you've been wearing. I came to give you life to the full, right in your own valley. The impartation. At the climax, Jesus breathed on Tigran, a warm wind like summer breeze off the Arax. Lightning hands touched his shoulders. A dove of pure light landed on his chest and melted in. Oil poured from nowhere. Glowing. Tigran, I impart to you the mantle of restored inheritance, fresh from heaven's storehouse. Tagline, I turn every stolen piece of your story into double-blessed legacy that overflows to everyone around you. Feel that power up? No more orphan heart. You're my son, fully qualified, fully loved, fully backed. The liquid love is yours to carry and splash on everyone you meet. Fire in his veins. Tigran felt fire in his veins, joy exploding. The old weights gone, tears streamed, but they were happy ones. My son, it's time to wake up. This was never just a wild sky adventure. It was me, Sweetest Jesus, running to meet you exactly where your heart was beating loudest and hurting deepest. New Game Plus, Lucid Dream. Tigran blinked hard, thinking the golden classroom explanation was the end, but the colors didn't fade. The sky didn't settle. Instead, everything folded again like someone hit New Game Plus on reality itself. He was still standing on the glowing silver arch ramp, but now he knew it was a dream. Lucid, fully awake inside the dream, Jesus stood right beside him, grinning that sunrise fire smile, one hand on Tigran's shoulder, radiating liquid warmth. Still dreaming, bro, Jesus said, voice soft but shaking the air like gentle thunder. And now you get to play. Use what I just dropped on you. The shadow boss is coming back meaner. But you're not the same kid who started this ride. The mega shadow boss. The sky cracked open like black glass. A massive new shadow boss erupted, twice the size, twisting like a living storm cloud made of every lie Tigran had ever swallowed. It had his dad's disappointed face multiplied 100 times, report cards raining like acid, voices screaming, "You're too small for Ararat, too average. Your cousin already made it. You'll disappoint everyone, just stay invisible." Deeper wounds surfaced, the father wound of long work hours and rare words, the comparison wound that made Tigran scroll his cousin's perfect Yerevan stories at 3 a.m., the abandonment sting of feeling forgotten under the mountain's shadow. The storm grew arms of dark chains and lunged, trying to drag Tigran off the ramp into endless falling. "You already won it!" Heart slamming, Tigran almost panicked. Then he remembered the mantle. Restored inheritance. The words felt like fire in his chest. He looked straight at Jesus. "You already carried this. You already won it." Jesus high-fived him mid-air, actual electric spark, and suddenly physics went deliciously insane. Tigran backflipped off the arch, gravity flipping like a video game cheat code. He shouted one word of truth and the storm froze mid-roar. The crew bodies the fake. PD zipped in like a furry missile. "That's my boy. Hit him with the inheritance line." Arcto charged through the clouds on those long Ice Age legs, roaring, "Big paws, bigger love. Let's body this fake." The giant bear slammed into the shadow with a paw the size of a truck, sending cracks of golden light spiderwebbing through the darkness. Armi leaped, jaws glowing, biting through chains like they were cheap string. "Discernment says this lie expires today, T-Man." The mantle activates. Tigran felt the mantle activate. Warm oil poured down his back again. The dove inside his chest flared bright. He opened his mouth, and the words came out coated in liquid love. Every stolen piece, my dad's silence, every not enough, every lonely night staring at Ararat. I call it restored, double portion, right now. The most beautiful fireworks. The shadow boss screamed and shattered into a million pieces that turned into glowing apricot blossoms and honeyed rice. The explosion became the most beautiful fireworks show the Ararat Valley had ever seen. Pomegranates popping in slow motion, lavash carpets unfurling like victory banners, flying riverboats doing barrel rolls while blasting Duduk Trap remixes. Fully lucid and unstoppable. Now fully lucid and unstoppable, Tigran reshaped the dream with a grin. He spoke, and the broken arch rebuilt itself into a massive glowing throne made of living scripture pages. He thought wings, and suddenly he, PD, Arcto, and Armi all rocketed upward on golden trails, doing impossible loops where up was down and laughter had weight. Jesus flew beside him, laughing louder than anyone, high-fiving mid-backflip, while the whole sky bent to Tigran's healed heart, the upgraded home. They dove straight into the heart of the old Shadow Storm's remains, now a swirling portal of light, and came out on the other side inside a deeper dream layer, a perfect glowing version of Tigran's actual house in Ararat Province. But everything was upgraded. Dad was home early, smiling real smiles, hugging him tight with no rush to the brandy factory. Mom stopped comparing and just held his face, saying, "You're exactly who heaven made." The table overflowed with endless kapama that never ran out. Even the cracked phone played perfect music without buffering. "This is what inheritance looks like?" Tigran turned to Jesus, tears streaming again. This is what inheritance looks like?" Jesus pulled him into a hug that felt like every safe place he'd ever wanted. "This is just the preview, son. The mantle is live. Every wound you carried, I turned it into doors for blessing. Your valley isn't small. It's the launch pad." The crew at rest. The three companions landed softly, wings folding. PD curled up in Tigran's lap like a living teddy bear. Arcto gently rested his massive head on the roof like a protective guardian. Armi sat tall, eyes soft. "We told you the Riz was heavenly," the wolf said with a wink. Liquid love flooded every corner of the house dream until the walls glowed. Tigran felt the deeper layers of father-mother wounds in comparison melt away like frost under Ararat sunrise. He laughed until he couldn't breathe, cried until the tears tasted sweet, felt his heart pound with a freedom he'd never known on Earth. Time travel! Hold on tight! Tigran felt the mantle still humming in his chest like warm chai on a freezing Ararat night. The lucid sky was still glowing around him when Jesus grinned that unstoppable sunrise smile and said, "You ready to see where this restored inheritance power first broke loose on Earth, bro? Let's time travel. Hold on tight. The crew's coming too." Everything folded like glowing parchment again. The silver arch ramp dissolved into a swirling tunnel of living Bible pages and Armenian duduk music mixed with old missionary hymns. Wind whipped past carrying scents of ink, sea salt, and Indian spices. Tigran, PD, Arcto, and Armi shot through time like silver arrows. Serampore, India. They slammed out into 1793 India, Serampore, on the banks of the Hooghly River under a blazing sun. The air was thick with humidity, temple bells, and the smell of wet earth. Tigran blinked and realized he was standing in the middle of a humble printing press yard. Wooden blocks, fresh paper, and the sound of a hand press clacking away filled the space. A short, determined Englishman with kind eyes and ink-stained hands looked up. William Carey. He wiped sweat from his brow and smiled like he'd been expecting them. "Well, if it isn't a young brother from Ararat, come to see how inheritance gets restored across oceans?" Amy Carmichael appears. Before Tigran could answer, a small, fiery Irish woman in a simple sari stepped out from behind a stack of freshly printed Gospels. Amy Carmichael. Her eyes sparkled with holy mischief. "Tigran, you poor wee lamb! You've been carrying that not enough weight under your mountain long enough. Watch what the Lord does with surrendered lives." PD popped up on Tigran's shoulder, tiny wings buzzing. "Bro, this is bussin'! They printed the Bible in like 40 languages so kids like you could read it in their own heart language." Carrie's story, restoration of inheritance. Carrie laughed warmly and pulled Tigran over to a long table covered with fresh translations. "I left everything in England, comfortable life, security, because Jesus told me he restored inheritance. I came with nothing but a call. Lost my son, faced fever, opposition from the East India Company, even my own mission board sometimes. But look, we translated the whole Bible into Bengali, Sanskrit, Marathi, over 40 languages and dialects. Boys who once thought God only spoke English now read his love letter in their mother tongue. Villages that were trapped in darkness now have light. That, Tigran, is restoration of inheritance. What the enemy stole, access to God's voice, we gave back double." Amy's story, "Give me your little..." Amy knelt down to Tigran's level, her voice gentle but fierce like liquid fire. "And I came as a young girl to India, broken from my own childhood pain. I rescued hundreds of temple girls who were going to be destroyed, built the Donover Fellowship, a family for the fatherless. Many nights I cried under the stars thinking I was too small, too weak. But Jesus said, 'Give me your little and I'll make it inheritance for generations.' Those girls grew up. Some became leaders, mothers, teachers. Their children now serve the Lord. Your Ararat Valley feels small? Mine felt smaller. But the mantle of restoration doesn't care about size. It cares about surrender. Living scenes play out." Tigran's eyes widened as living scenes played out around them like a 4D movie only he and the crew could see. He watched Carrie's printing press run day and night while floods rose and fevers raged. He saw Amy hiding little girls in bullock carts at midnight, whispering prayers over them. Every time opposition hit, they prayed, and heaven restored double. More languages, more rescued lives, more legacy. PD barked excitedly. "See that, Tigran? Your dad working long hours? Carrie left his whole family behind for years. But look at the fruit. Your loneliness under the mountain." Amy felt it too, but they let Jesus turn the pain into doors for thousands. Vision of modern Armenia. Jesus stepped into the middle of the printing yard, the Serampore sun shining behind him like a halo. He put both hands on Tigran's shoulders, liquid love flowing stronger than ever. "Watch this, son." The scene fast-forwarded. Tigran saw modern Armenia, kids in Ararat Province reading the Bible in their own language because of the legacy of faithful translation. He saw families healed, valleys blooming with purpose, young people rising up with the same restored inheritance mantle. His own face appeared in the vision, standing on a hill near Korvirap, sharing his story, and whole groups of teens lighting up as chains fell off. "Take it home, brother." Carrie placed a fresh Bengali New Testament in Tigran's hands, but when Tigran looked down, it had transformed into an Armenian Bible glowing with light. Take it home, brother. The word restores what time and pain tried to steal. Amy hugged him tight, her sari smelling faintly of jasmine and prayer. You're not the forgotten boy under the mountain. You're the inheritance restorer for your generation. Let the mantle grow. Golden threads across time. Fire surged through Tigran's veins again. The mantle flared brighter. He could literally see golden threads of inheritance stretching from Serampore all the way to Ararat, connecting his story to Carrie's, to Amy's, to every teen who would ever feel small. The time tunnel opened again. As they shot back toward the present, Tigran shouted over the wind, "Thank you! My valley isn't small anymore! It's the launch pad!" They burst back into the glowing Ararat sky, the silver arch still shining. But now Tigran's eyes carried the fire of 1793 India and the hope of tomorrow's Armenia, the inheritance vault. They landed inside the inheritance vault, a room that shouldn't be possible. The walls were made of living, breathing timelines, glowing transparent scrolls that folded and unfolded like origami made of light. Each scroll showed a different moment of Tigran's life, but twisted and beautiful at the same time. One scroll showed little Tigran staring up at Mount Ararat, feeling tiny and forgotten. Another showed him at school, scrolling his cousin's perfect posts, chest tight with comparison. A third showed late nights when Dad came home exhausted and words felt heavy. But here in the glitch room, the scrolls weren't painful. They were alive with possibility. That pain, it's not wasted. Jesus walked forward, eyes burning with sunrise fire over the real New Jerusalem. This is the place where I show my kids how I hold every second of their story at once. Watch. He touched one scroll. It unfolded and the scene inside glitched. The lonely little Tigran under the mountain suddenly had golden threads shooting out of his chest, connecting to future versions of himself standing on stages, hugging his dad with real smiles, leading other Ararat teens into freedom. The scroll folded again and became a glowing treasure chest overflowing with light. Tigran's mouth fell open. Wait, that pain. It's not wasted? I re-author it from the inside out. Never! Every tear you cried staring at Ararat, I caught it. Every not enough that hit at 2 a.m., I stored it. Every time comparison tried to shrink you, I was already turning it into double inheritance. This room is where you see the glitch in what the world calls reality. I don't fix your story. I re-author it from the inside out. PD zipped around a floating scroll, tiny wings buzzing. Bro, look, that night you felt invisible? It just glitched into a whole generation of teens feeling seen because of you. Wounds become keys. Jesus stepped closer and the room responded. All the timelines folded at once into one massive glowing heart-shaped vault in the center of the floor. Inside it, Tigran saw every wound he'd carried. The father wound of long silences, the comparison ache, the rootlessness under the mountain, now transformed. They weren't gone. They were refined. Each one had become a glowing key that unlocked doors for other teens. One key opened a door labeled Ararat Teens Rising. Another opened Families Laughing Again. A third opened Valleys Overflowing with Purpose. Tigran felt tears, the good kind, sliding down his face. So, all the heavy stuff, you were storing it for this. The global stadium, the golden light of the inheritance vault still pulsed in Tigran's chest like a living heartbeat when the entire New Jerusalem glitch room folded one last time and opened into a vast open-air stadium floating above the real Ararat Valley at sunset. Snow-capped Mount Ararat glowed rose gold behind them. The sky was packed with millions of teens from every nation, glowing faces from Armenia, India, America, Africa, Asia, all suspended in the dream, but feeling it like it was happening right now in 2026. Tigran stood on a simple stone stage with Jesus right beside him, mantle blazing brighter than ever. PD perched on his shoulder, Arcto sat like a gentle mountain behind him, and Armi stood tall at his side. The air hummed with liquid love so thick you could almost taste warm gapama and fresh korovats. The global prophecy. My sons and daughters across the earth, right now, in this moment, I am restoring inheritance over your lives. You who feel small under your own mountain, whether it's Ararat, the pressure of exams, silent dad's scrolling comparison, or nights when you wonder if you even matter, hear me clearly, your valley is not too small. It is the launch pad. What the enemy meant for isolation, I have folded into connection. What felt like not enough, I have turned into double portion keys that unlock blessing for generations. The mantle drops on a generation. To every 13 to 18-year-old watching this dream right now, the one in Armenia staring at Ararat wondering if his story will ever count, The one in India, carrying family expectations. The one in Detroit, or Lagos, or Seoul, feeling invisible. I declare, the mantle of restored inheritance is dropping on your generation tonight. Every stolen piece, every lonely night, you're too average, every long silence from home, I am giving back double. Your pain is becoming treasure vaults. Your valleys are about to overflow with purpose, laughter, and legacy that touches nations. The Stadium Prayer. Jesus led the prayer, voice full of tangible love. Father, right now, across every screen and every heart tuned in, release the mantle of restored inheritance. Heal every father wound with your presence. Break every comparison lie with your approval. Fill every lonely place with belonging that overflows. Let these teens feel the liquid love that rewrites their story from the inside out. Impart fresh fire, fresh keys, fresh courage. Let their valleys become launch pads that shake the earth with good news. In the name that restores everything, Amen. The Amen rolled like thunder. Light exploded outward from the stage, shooting across the globe in the dream, into bedrooms in Ararat Province, into hostels in India, into cities everywhere. The love letter for every bro and sis. My beloved son Tigran, and every bro and sis reading or hearing this right now, you are not forgotten under any mountain. I see you exactly where you are, in the valley under the pressure, carrying the quiet aches no one else notices. I have never once looked at you and thought too small. I have always seen the launch pad. Every tear you cried staring at Ararat, every night you felt invisible next to someone else's highlight reel, every long silence from home. I caught every single one, I stored them, and now I am folding them into treasure that will bless you and everyone around you. Restored inheritance is my promise. You carry my heart. You carry my mantle. Restored inheritance is not just a nice phrase. It is my promise over your life. I am the God who takes what was stolen and gives it back double. I am the God who turns valleys into overflow. I am the God who makes the ordinary boy from Ararat Province a doorway for nations. So receive this tonight. You are my beloved son in whom I am well pleased. No performance, no perfection, no comparison required. Just open your hands and your heart. The liquid love is already flowing. The keys are already in your chest. The future is already brighter than you can imagine. I am with you. I am for you. I am restoring everything. With everlasting love that never runs out, your sweetest Jesus, the memory sealing summit. The grand stadium lights slowly folded like golden parchment one last time. Tigran, still riding the wave of the global prophecy, felt himself lifted gently upward with the crew. The floating arena dissolved into soft clouds, and they landed on the very peak of Mount Ararat, but not the Ararat he knew from Earth. This version glowed with living jasper and translucent gold, snow replaced by warm pulsing light. The summit wide and flat like a natural stage made for sealing dreams. Jesus stood at the center, eyes brighter than any sunrise over the real valley. PD, Arcto, and Armi gathered close, wings softly folded, faces full of proud, brotherly joy. This is the memory sealing summit, son, Jesus said, voice wrapping around Tigran like the warmest blanket mixed with thunder. Every wild part of this dream. The sky surf ramp, the shadow bosses, the lucid backflips, Serampore with Carrie and Amy, the glitch room where timelines folded, the global stadium prophecy, all of it gets sealed into your heart tonight, so it never fades. And I've got one more wild surprise blessing waiting. The inheritance cloak, the wild bonus. Then Jesus grinned that unstoppable grin. Now for the wild bonus surprise blessing I promised. The summit cracked open with a joyful rumble. From the heart of the glowing mountain rose a living inheritance cloak. Not fabric, but woven light and fire and liquid love. It looked like shimmering Armenian duduk patterns mixed with Bengali script from Carrie's presses and the gentle strength of Amy's rescued girls. The cloak floated over and settled on Tigran's shoulders. As it touched him, it grew, stretching, breathing, becoming exactly the right size and strength for every future season. But the real surprise? The cloak wasn't just for him. Tiny glowing threads shot out from its hem and raced down the mountain like golden rivers. One toward his house in Ararat Province, one toward his school, one all the way to India and beyond, connecting back to every life touched by the mantle across time. The final summit prophecy. Tigran spun once, the cloak flaring like living fire. He felt unstoppable, deeply loved, and fully backed. Tears streamed down his face, happy, free, grateful tears. He laughed until his sides hurt, hugged each creature tight, and then threw his arms around Jesus. Listen, every teen watching or reading right now, 2026 is the year valleys wake up. The mountains that made you feel small are becoming platforms for my glory. Every father wound is turning into fathering grace. Every comparison scroll is glitching into celebration. Every lonely night under your own Ararat is becoming a launchpad for inheritance that touches nations. The mantle of restored inheritance is dropping fresh tonight. Rise up. Speak my truth. Watch me restore double in your family, your school, your nation, and the ends of the earth. I am not finished with you. I am just getting started. The liquid love is already flowing. Receive it, walk in it, overflow with it. The mantle is live. The cloak is growing. My dearest Tigran and every beloved son and daughter reading these words tonight, you are mine. Not because you performed well or measured up to anyone's standard, but because I chose you before the mountains were formed. Wear the cloak. Walk in the mantle. Restored inheritance is not a future promise. It is your present reality. When the lies whisper again, remember the sky surf ramp, the glitch room, the global stadium, and my voice saying, you are enough because I say so. I am proud of you. I am with you. I am for you. My liquid love will never leave you. Go live the restored life I have already written. With all my heart, forever, your sweetest Jesus. This episode was birthed from the heavenly encounter of Goodwin Godsent from Detroit, who operates Christian-guided-meditations.com. The In Your Dreams Bro Global Edition is found exclusively at in-your-dreams-bro.com. The night is trembling, the valleys are waking, dreams are becoming reality. Tigran is walking different now. The mantle is live. The cloak is growing. The inheritance is restored. Thank you for dreaming with us. Share this with every teen who needs to know they are seen, loved, and destined for overflow.